So welcome again to today's presentation on incorporating core values into your meetings. Our presenters today are the Mann Master Builders. The Mann Master Builders were a first-year First LEGO League team last season, the First LEGO League World Class season, from Mann Elementary School in Union, Kentucky. This team of 5 fourth graders and 1 fifth grader won first place for the Innovative Solution Award at the 2014-15 First LEGO League Kentucky State Championship Tournament for their safe tackle football helmet invention. They were also selected as one of 20 semifinalists for the First LEGO League Global Innovation Award presented by X Prize. This team discovered their passion and creativity through First LEGO League, and they continue to be inspired to see their invention to fruition. Most of their original team remains in Kentucky, although Tyler and Logan have relocated to Texas and participate in an FLL team there. The original team continues to work on their First LEGO League World Class invention.
Great. Well, it is such an honor to be here to talk to all the FLL coaches. One thing that we found is really core values is really at the heart of FLL. It really is what helps you have fun and be successful. And again, we were, if you're brand new to FLL, we were just like you 1 year ago, and we just wanted to reach back and share with you what we have learned over the years. This slide right here, this core values, this comes directly from the FLL website. And the core values are, we are a team, we do the work to find solutions with guidance from our coaches and mentors. We know how coaches and mentors don't have all the answers, and we learn together. We honor the spirit of friendly competition. We discover what we discover is more important than what we win. We share experiences with others. We display gracious professionalism and cooperation in everything we do, and we have fun. What we'd say here is that this all seems pretty straightforward. I think FLL's done a great job of describing core values. We thought that would be helpful for you all to hear about a real team and how we apply this to real meetings. And a word about meetings, really, whether it's a practice or whether you are at a competition or whether you're hosting a webinar, it really is a meeting. So it's really a part of what you do all the time in FLL. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw in our team members because they really are the experts. I'm just the coach here, so they're going to share their thoughts with you about core values as well. And we wanted to leave plenty of time to answer your questions there, so we'll have time for that at the end, and we look forward to hearing from you and answering your questions. Okay, well with that, we wanted to talk a little bit about last year's challenge, that was Learning Unleashed there, and I'm going to turn it over to Tyler, who's going to talk about how we started with brainstorming to find solutions with guidance from our coaches and mentors. So take it away, Tyler.
Okay, so first we discussed who to help and how with guidance from our coaches. Then each teammate was asked to write down ideas, and then coaches discussed them with us. I came up with the idea of helping football players prevent concussions, and coaches led us to discuss how we could do this as a team. Next, as a team, we decided to invent a safe tackle football helmet.
Awesome. And talking to the team there, do you all remember the brainstorming that we did?
Yeah, that was long.
2 full pages of ideas, and how long did that take, you think?
About like 5 minutes.
5 or 10 minutes. So in that 5 or 10 minutes, we had dozens of ideas there, and it was one of our favorite meetings there very early on in the project. So I think the message here is for coaches and mentors is right up front, really embrace the brainstorming process to and guide them through it. Does anyone remember our idea that we went with last year? What number was it on the list there? It was the very first idea that came out, wasn't it? Yeah, out of all those dozens. And so as coaches, these kids are really great at brainstorming, so we had to decide what to do, which one to pick. So this next slide shows about also included as an FLL blog entry. But basically, what you'll see here down at the bottom of the slide, we listed, every row was an idea. And these are actually some of the real ideas that we came up with brainstorming. So one of the ideas was making video games. Another one was how do we tackle safely. Another one was how do we learn to take care of pets, okay? So then, and of course, this is just a small sample. We had dozens of them that they came up with in just 5 or 10 minutes. I think the key here is when you're brainstorming solutions is let the team be creative and the ideas flow. It's important not to try to evaluate the ideas because you could kind of lose the momentum there. So even though making video games we knew maybe wasn't the best direction we want to go, we didn't comment on it. We just kind of let the ideas keep going. So then the next step we did as far as guidance is we came up with these criteria there for evaluating our ideas. And we had 3 criteria. Hey, is this idea interesting? Is this idea innovative? And finally, is it relevant? Okay? And then what we did is we rated each of the ideas on these criteria. So we could find that, hey, you know what? Video games is extremely interesting, somewhat innovative, but perhaps not relevant. So we added it up. Again, this is from a 1 to a 10. We said that's a 25. Tackling safely, 1. It really came out at the top of the list. It was a 30. It was a 10 out of 10. And so we did that for every solution. And that helped us make a good decision. That's what we ran with for our whole season there. And what I can say about this is I was a brand new coach, and early on we kind of just used this process internally. But what we found is later we had other decisions to make. So we actually let the kids use this process of coming up with ideas and then criteria. Do you guys remember, Logan and Luke, maybe when you used this process?
Yeah.
What were you trying to decide to do?
Which missions were the easiest and how far away they were.
We were trying to pick our missions for the robot game there. And as Logan mentioned, we came up with some criteria, like how many points is it? How
close to the base are like the only place where you can fix your probably in points.
Right. So you guys rated it, and then we came up with what was our next mission. So we had a process. And so the neat thing there was that we taught the kids this process, and we thought it worked well. And it was just a way to guide the team and through all their decisions, and we found it worked well. Our next core values is what we discover is more important than what we win. I think this is a really important core value. We used this to make our helmet great. So let me just talk you through a little bit about the invention that we had, which was the Safe Tackle football helmet there. Basically, it is a football helmet that helps keep players' head up when they're tackling, so that way they're less likely to get concussions. And we did some research, and the kids did some research, and found out that that was the primary cause of concussions. And we tried to make the helmet better with every generation, and we used the engineering design process with every iteration. So we imagined, designed, created, tested, improved. Trial and error. Do you guys remember what the trial and error generation 1 was?
We were trying to make our own tilt switch out of a pen and like a ball inside the pen, but it didn't work 100%.
It was trial and error, yeah, because kind of the idea, if we put a little tilt switch inside the helmet, then it would help but that one that we built ourselves didn't quite work. But we stuck that right on our poster there for the competition to show folks that we were trying things. So then ultimately, the kids did build a working prototype using a tilt switch that they ordered. It was very inexpensive. I think all the components were like less than $10 there, but it was related to the same kind of tilt switch that's in like a thermometer there, a old-fashioned thermostat. So that was generation 2, and that's what we took to regionals. The next step, the next step is discovery. Is we said, hey, how do we make this better? How do we improve this? So the kids brainstormed and came up with a design with a provisional patent there that had more features, more bells and whistles. So they discovered it. So that's really where we're at now. Well, actually, we're in generation 4. We're thinking about pursuing a utility patent and looking at new, potentially building new prototypes and going to market. But at the end of the day, it was really about the discovery process and what we learned. The other core value that we wanted to talk about was we do the work to find solution with guidance from our coaches and mentors. I wanted to mention here specifically, you can see that the duct tape and our prototype there. And when we were building that, there was a need to be able to solder wires there to the buzzer and to the tilt switch. Now, we knew that that wasn't something that would be safe for one of the kids to do. So one of the dads actually helped with the soldering there to make the helmet and to make it safe there. That was an example of there are times to ask for help. But I tell you, some advice there is not to underestimate the kids, because if you tap into the brainstorming and see how can you do this, we really tried to keep the focus on the kids and not offer too much help there, only when it was something like. Next, we want to talk about, we know our coaches and mentors don't have all the answers. We learn together. So I wanted to turn it over to Luke, who's going to talk about that.
We know our coaches and mentors don't have all the answers, and that we learn together. Since I like working with the cost and the schedule for the project, my specialized role was implementation. Since our coaches and mentors did not have all the answers, we received proposals from professionals to continue our work after FLL season. We learned it was okay to say we did not know an answer yet. As you can see in the schedule above, it will take us about 3 more years and just under $20,000 to complete the Safe Tackle Football Helmet project. We waited to partner with a university until after the season because we wanted to present our own original ideas.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Luke. So yeah, the concept here of the core values is we knew the kids had a big idea here, and it was above and beyond what I as a coach could help guide them through. So we did reach out to some experts. A friend of our family was an electrical engineer, and he actually helped us with an estimate and said, you know what, you guys have done some PowerPoint drawings, but to really turn this into patent standards, it's going to cost, you know, and they gave us an estimate about $600. But we learned something through that, and we connected with an electrical engineer. We also had, we were fortunate to have a patent attorney come in and help us too, and gave us some guidance on what it would cost to do a full patent application. And then we also learned about what utility patent fees were for a microentity. You know, in that case, just calling the 1-800-USPTO hotline and talking them through, they were great. And I was actually able to get the provisional patent in myself there. Getting to the utility level, you know, we need some more help. What we've learned along the way is that when you get to a full utility patent, that can actually involve setting up an entity or a corporation. We were fortunate that Northern Kentucky University, they have the Chase Small Business and Law Clinic. They actually, for free, have offered us advice for the team, and we've scheduled some time on October 12th where they're going to walk us through what's all involved with setting up a corporation. And we've set up a budget there for those costs that could come up, taxes, fees, et cetera, for doing that. And that's all part of the education that, you know, the kids are going to have through this project. And it, again, so even though we're starting the new season, this project's still very much alive, and we're exploring it as we speak. So that's a little bit from the cost perspective. Did want to mention there as well, kind of our schedule. We had some lessons there with the schedule. We learned what non-disclosure agreements were. You guys remember what a non-disclosure agreement is?
It's where you tell someone like a secret, and they sign like something so they couldn't tell anyone else.
Right, right. So we learned that what that is, really a really advanced concept, and I think that's the awesome part about FLL is that you really learn the business side and the legal side of what it means to be innovative. And I went to engineering school, and but that was not something that was really covered, so I've actually learned something too along the way, so that was really kind of neat. We have actually reached out to a university researcher with our idea for some feedback, and we're hoping to hear back from them in the next couple of weeks. It was our decision, as Luke mentioned, we waited to talk to the researcher there. What we found is the kids just had so many good ideas that we just pulled that all together and really presented at the competition their ideas. Now that being said, it's certainly okay to go to an expert, you know, before the competition. But if you do, a couple things you have to consider. One, and we saw some teams do this in St. Louis, you know, give the researcher credit there that you did talk to them, and you know, they had some suggestions, and you know, and make sure it's okay that you share them. So it's certainly okay. However, one thing to keep in mind is if someone really comes in and comes up with innovative ideas, then when you're applying for your patent, our patent attorney has told us, then they actually become a co-inventor on the patent. And one of the cool things about our provisional patent is it's just the team members that are on there. Right? So I'm not on there, so it's their original ideas, so that's kind of cool. And actually, when I called the patent office, they said, hey, you do realize that you're not listed as an inventor? And I said, that's perfect, because this is the kids' inventions, and we're proud of how they pulled that together. And then finally, you see, we did kind of lay out a whole schedule of what it would take to go for the full patent, so we learned something there. So that being said, we learned a tremendous amount by just following the roadmap here and getting to talk to these kind of cool experts, whether they're patent attorneys or engineers, and you know, now we're talking to university researchers. So one kind of question I had for the kids is, has this given you any ideas about what you might want to be when you grow up there?
Perhaps it influenced me to become a patent attorney.
Okay. And why is that?
Because you get paid a lot, and it's also fun getting to see all these cool ideas that people have made.
Awesome. Well, that's really great to hear, Luke.
I think I want to be a mechanical engineer. I want to be a programmer like the robot.
Programmer. All right. So that's pretty neat. We've got, you know, a lot of STEM career paths have been inspired by the job. And part of that, I think, getting back to the core value is, reaching out beyond just the coaches and mentors to learn together. So, all right, well, good job, guys. Okay. So our next slide we wanted to talk about is the core value of we are a team. And I'd like to turn that over to Logan to talk about that core value.
So on the robot game, we worked in pairs on our missions. We each took turns at the board to do our missions. I think it's a good strategy because everyone got to do something and we got teamwork points.
Hey, we did want to give credit for an additional team member. Does anyone remember the name of our robot?
Big Awesome Robot of Technology.
Right, the Big Awesome Robot of Technology is there. Remember when we were working with Bart, guys, and remember how we worked in pairs, and we were a rookie team?
Mm-hmm.
Did you like working in pairs like that and each having a chance, or do you think it was, okay?
Yeah.
So Luke, why'd you like it there?
I liked it because, then everybody got to do something with the robot, and not just, two people built the whole thing.
Right. No, great. And, I think especially for a rookie team, it's great for them each to get a chance. And, we had the kids tag in. It was fun. It was almost like running sports plays for a sports team, like in basketball there, where you tag in and they do, and they get out, and they really ran it like some drills, and they knew it inside and out, and it was a lot of fun. Another thing I think to keep in mind, especially for a rookie, is the board can be, it is awesome and it is challenging, but just to give some perspective, do you guys remember about how many points we got, what the highest point total we got was? Okay, Tyler?
95.
Remember? Yeah, about 95. And do you remember when we were at Worlds, what the highest score we saw was?
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Was it around 800, 900?
It was close to 800 points. Our team, we found a path. We were a rookie team. We were dedicated, and we put just enough into it to make it to the state level, which was awesome. At that kind of 3 to 4 mission level, some of the easy ones. Then from there, our specialty became the project. And what's cool about is that there are opportunities for everyone to work as a team and move forward. So talking a little bit more about the robot and how that ties to the spirit of friendly competition, I wanted to turn it over to Chihiro, who's going to talk about how we honor the spirit of friendly competition.
We had a friendly competition to see who could complete last season's homework mission. In the homework mission, the other team built something using 6 stations you see on the slide. One team member then had to recreate what the other team built. After several rounds of friendly competition, we discovered I was able to complete the mission twice as fast as anyone. We all agreed this should be my professionalized role on the team. It was something I enjoyed and did very well.
Thank you, Chihiro. Yeah, and he really did. He really did this well, and it was something he enjoyed. And, I can't emphasize that enough. There are so many cool opportunities in FLL to really find what the kids enjoy and then also something they do well, and to lock in on that and make that a specialized role, not even for Lego League, but it could really influence what they want to major in college, where they want to move on with their careers, etc. So asking the team there, Do you all remember us doing that friendly competition where you had the 6 pieces, right? So there'd be, like, I would make something, and then you each would have a pile, and you try and recreate it fast.
Yeah, that was fun. That was really fun.
Yeah, we actually had the kids then try and make the most complicated, difficult little thing with the logos they possibly could, and then they would get a chance to create it. So there was a creative process there, but yeah, every time Chihiro it'd come up fast. So, but what's did anyone get upset, or was or during that process?
Not really. No.
Yeah, it was good. So I think what's cool about that was the spirit of a friendly competition was held through that core value. So that's cool. Well, the next core value we wanted to talk about was sharing our experiences with others. In St. Louis, one thing that we happened was it was at the end of the competition, the kids were inducted as Global Ambassadors of Innovation, and this was the oath that they read during the at the end of the competition. It says that, I do hereby promise to do my best to continue my journey in innovation and to share what I have learned with the community. I pledge to continue to ask questions, challenge myself, and keep my spark of innovation lit. My journey does not end today, it has just begun. I wanted to include this because I think this is really excellent advice for every team there. I think this idea of sharing knowledge and asking questions and challenging ourselves is really what it's all about. And yeah, I'm proud of the kids that they've taken this oath to heart and are starting to deliver it and sharing their ideas about core values. The next slide relates to displaying gracious professionalism and cooperation in everything we do. And the main point of this slide here is that we really did see gracious professionalism and cooperation increase with each level of the competition. And what I mean by that is when we were at regionals and when we were at states and when we went to the global level, you may expect maybe the core values to slide because these are some of the best teams, and maybe there'd start to be a little bit of selfishness or not really being nice. But the exact opposite was true. At each level, the teams just demonstrated core values more and more. So what I wanted to share with you there was the team from Peru. You can see, this was when we were in St. Louis. This team had developed a Lego robot game system for preschoolers, where a preschooler could actually program a robot based on it with some very basic controls, like a red triangle or a blue square, and it would how many would go forward. And it was awesome, and we were just sort of mesmerized by this. We were looking at this invention, and at the end of our conversation, they came up to us, and they actually gave us these gifts. The gift on the right is a musical instrument. It's a little recorder instrument that actually plays. You can see it's hand-carved and hand-painted. And the pin on the left is a hand-sewn pin showing people from Peru. So you just think about the time and energy that went into this, and this is what they were handing out to the people there. So one thing I think is kind of fun, when you are meeting at teams of competitions, a little giveaway is just a nice way to make connections, and this kind of really blew me away, seeing this kind of thought that went into this, and this kind of gracious professionalism and cooperation. The other key point that comes up here is in St. Louis, when it came to the Global Innovation Award, was that everyone was referred to that made it to the top 3 as finalists instead of winners. there. And I think that's a key point because there really were there are no losers in the competition. There are finalists and people that move forward. But at the end of the day, the people that benefit from all these really cool ideas that come through the projects, those are the winners. Last year it was a lot of people that learned how to do something better. I think that the grand prize went to a team that helps kids with dyslexia learn math, which is just an incredible invention there. And along the way, we saw all kinds of awesome inventions. And it really comes back to cooperation. There's not emphasis on winning, because really everyone wins along the way. So next, we did want to talk a little bit about having fun. Our team did use a football theme to help make practice more fun. I heard that one of the goals of FLL is to make FLL practices just as fun as playing a sport. So we kind of ran with that and came up with this theme. One thought is that we use specialized roles just like a football team. What a quarterback does isn't the same thing that a wide receiver does and isn't the same thing that someone on defense does. So we kind of ran with that with the kids. So we had like Logan and Luke who really zeroed in on some of the implementation details of the project, like schedule and cost. We had two of the other team members focus on the design of the project. So each one kind of found their specialized role. And we did something called a quarterback for questions and answers. Do you all remember who the quarterback was for questions and answers?
Tyler.
Okay. Hey, why don't we talk about that? So Tyler, what did you do as the quarterback for questions and answers?
So for question and answer, we would have a football, and I would be in the middle, and the rest of the team would be branching off beside me. Each member of the team had like a part that they specialized in. So if they asked a question that, say, Logan knew about, then I would hand the football to him and he would tell them.
And if I didn't know it, I would hand it down the line more.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, so very well said. We called that our running game. That was our handoff, and it was a way for the kids to learn that, hey, this is my specialized role. I know this. I've got the ball, and I'm going to answer that question there. And it was cool that they really got the hang of that and were able to do that. And it was a way to have fun at the same time. So the passing game, that's the running game for Q&A. The passing game is those long plays way downfield. So we'd say, guys, if we're brainstorming, just go for it. Have fun. It's less discipline. Just be creative. If we're doing our skit, then go for it. Have fun and really enjoy. So it was neat to see the kids learn those two gears, kind of that creative side and the discipline side at the same time. And finally, we used yellow flags, and that was kind of a fun way to say, hey, you know what? Let's take a step back and look at that. So if anything was not nice or negative, if there was any arguing, if someone said there was one bad habit where we might be asked a question by a judge and they might say, well, yeah, I already said that before. We're not going to tell the judge that. We're going to just kind of repeat our answer again. In the moment, if a question came up and we don't know the answer, a big thing to learn was that it was okay to say, you know what, that's a great question. Let me come back and we'll look into that. And I think that is my experience as an engineer. That's really important because ultimately you're responsible for the public safety and the public trust. And we've taught the kids that, it is okay to say, hey, I'm not sure about that. I'm going to look back. And we got good at that as we went through the season. And yellow flags was just a fun way to turn it more into like sports practice there. So, speaking of having fun, Here are some pictures there from our team, from regional, states. You'll notice in the lower left-hand corner here, this is the picture just before the award ceremony in St. Louis. What I really like about this picture is, the kids are still having fun right up to the very end. But as you can see, these are turbocharged kids with turbocharged brains. Channel that enthusiasm into the project and the missions. Channel it into something constructive, but still have fun along the way. Also, take time to celebrate. In the right-hand corner, after one of our competitions, we had a small party, and guess what we had the kids do? What they really wanted to do was just play with Legos. Not necessarily working with a mission, and they had a ball just being able to kind of build some cool things rather than being just focused on the mission. So that was kind of cool. But also, we like to take breaks and go outside and play basketball or something. So have fun. Our team also, we chose to take the summer off. We worked hard, but we decided let's take a break there. And finally, I think the thing about having fun is really what makes FLL fun is that creative process. And as a coach, what I'd say is really challenge yourself as a coach. Rather than saying something can't be done, ask them, hey, how can we make this work, or how can we make this better? And just tap into that creative process, because if they own their idea and they invent it, then that's going to be what's fun. What do you think was maybe the most important thing there about having fun?
I think the most important thing about having fun is definitely fun. I mean, you always have to have fun in this. It's not competition. You're competing against your own scores and not anybody else.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think that's a really good point. Wenda, thank you for your attention.
Okay, thank you so much, Mann Master Builders. Okay, we do have a question from a coach who's been waiting kind of patiently, so thank you. She has an all-girls team, and one of the girls is having a hard time brainstorming anything outside of her primary idea. Coach Matt, would you have any ideas for ways that you could suggest to help her maybe think outside the box?
Yeah, getting back to the specialized role idea, I think that ability to really focus and lock in on an idea is an awesome skill. And although it may present some challenges now during brainstorming, boy, I think once down the road, that's really can be valuable because often, especially if you're on a Lego, on a mission, or if you're just trying to figure out on the project, hey, how do we kind of get past that, then that person could really have a valuable specialized role. What I would recommend is using the decision-making process to really have a fair look at every idea, and then to describe maybe to the whole team as to why you're going in a certain direction. But I think if once you communicate a fair process, then it becomes a little easier then to move on. But I'd encourage you to reach out to that one team member and don't lose them because they sound like they could really be great there moving forward.
I would also add to that, just to bear in mind that for some people, idea generation might take different forms. They might not feel as comfortable giving their input into a large group setting. You might have some more success having them try to draw out their ideas or write them down on Post-it notes and hand them in. And then if you're still struggling with that, idea generation might just not be their forte, so you might have them weigh in on voting for an idea as Coach Matt suggested, or leading the team in discussion of the ideas that were generated, how to come to a conclusion and decide on one together. So I definitely think it's great to try to get that team member to flex their brainstorming muscle. For some people, the idea generation process is a little more challenging in the big group team discussion setting. So also acknowledging that some people's strengths might not be in that area is great.
I agree with Jen. I think one thing too about brainstorming is try and keep it moving. You know, try and get that one idea and then move on to the next one, move on to the next one. You know, we were able to, in 5 or 10 minutes, get those dozens of ideas and try and, as a team, resist the temptation to discuss or evaluate, because that's when you can also kind of get stuck. So, you know, I think that can help with brainstorming too, is to keep it moving.
Absolutely, and here at First often set rules for our brainstorming sessions before we begin, and one of the rules does include to leave the judgment at the door and to not be afraid to say ideas that are potentially just sounding a little cuckoo, because they might not be so cuckoo when you break them down. How many days, hours did you meet each week?
We had an arrangement with Mann Elementary School that on Wednesdays and Fridays we met after school there. So it was a couple hours each time. So that worked out well. Then we really asked for volunteers, who wanted to come in on a Saturday and work on a mission there. And I think at any point each of the kids spent a little extra time working on, especially the robot, because you know that can take time. So it was kind of 2 practices a week, and then kind of volunteers that wanted to have some more specialized time on the robot. I think one thing about the robot too is that it really works. It's hard to have 6 people all with their hands on BART at the same time. It really helped to have, you know, just kind of 1 or 2 kind of tinker with it and then share. So that's how we approached it.
During our meetings, we always try to do a core value activity. Do you have any that your team has done that you could recommend, or activities that you know about?
Rather than define it as an activity, we just really tried to incorporate those into the meeting and in our discussions there as a general theme. So sometimes it's really it's rather than planned activities, it's kind of those in the moment kind of surprise things that come up where you try and as a coach on the core values to pull it together.
I'd just add to that, if you're looking for some team building activities, a great source of ideas and information would be our First LEGO League team forums, and you can join the team forums from the www.firstlegoleague.org website. There is a link to our forum. To join, you just need register for the forums and answer the secret question. One that we've actually used here as a team at First Headquarters is to break into groups and illustrate, pick a core value and illustrate it. You have about 5 minutes to draw what the core value you have selected with your group means to you, and then you get back in a group and explain your drawing to each other. And that's actually a really fun one to do, particularly if you keep it timed. You can have some really funny renditions of what people are trying to illustrate, and it's also just a great reminder of the backbone of First LEGO League, which we really look at the robot game and the project as what you do, and the core values as how you do them. So that was a great question, Julie. And again, I do encourage you to check out on the team forums, see what other teams are doing for team building activities, and share what you've done as well. How did you handle squabbles amongst your team members?
You know, we were fortunate, really, that this group of all 4th graders and 1 5th graders, even though they really hadn't met each other, they did get along, and we did have them really engage all their enthusiasm into the project. But I think, you know, if when there was a squabble, you know, I think we'd have the kids, you know, apologize to each other and shake hands, and we would try and not dwell on it, but move on into the next constructive activity. And sometimes if there's a squabble, it means, you know what, it's time for a snack break. It's time for going out and maybe going outside. It might be a sign that it's time for a break there. So that's kind of how we would handle those situations.
Excellent. Yes, we've very recently become familiar with the term hangry, which is anger derived from hunger. So sometimes a snack is just what you need to get back on track. It sounds simple, but you'd be surprised. I have a couple of kids in my team that are extremely energetic and find it hard to focus on brainstorming and other discussions. This distracts the other team members. Do you have any recommendations to make this a positive and focused experience for everyone?
You know, I do think that it is okay and acceptable to talk to the, not in a threatening or a bad way, but to talk to the child's parents there if it really is a continued disruption, and in a positive way say, hey, you know, so-and-so's having a little difficulty focusing. What would you recommend? What are some strategies do you think that work for you to help them really engage to the project? So I would encourage you to do that. I was fortunate. This team I didn't have that issue with, but I know we were in another academic type league in another type situation where I know I've been through that, and that's how we kind of handled it. That's the kind of, at a certain point, it helps to maybe talk to the parents and get some ideas there.
Sometimes we also find that giving those extremely energetic folks a different task in the brainstorming, depending on how you run your brainstorming sessions, you might find a lot of activities that are very similar, or a lot of suggestions or ideas that are generated that are very similar to each other. So you might have one of the more energetic folks in your group to be in charge of moving your Post-its around into clusters, or helping with the note taking, or giving them some positive way to focus their energy.
That's a great idea too. Yeah, I really like that.
Something that was kind of weird but funny, all I had to do was say something funny, and then they would laugh, and then they would just...
Yep, sometimes acknowledging when, much like Matt was saying earlier, people just need to blow the steam off a little bit and be a little silly for a few minutes. Sometimes just having like a 2-minute silly break to get things out of your system and then refocus can also do a lot of good when someone's having a difficult time focusing. Coach Michelle offers that they have a show and tell session at the beginning of sessions, but team members have difficulty focusing when other team members talk. And I think sometimes when you have that kind of scenario where people are having a little bit of difficulty, sometimes breaking them up into smaller groups and having the person that's presenting be kind of interviewed by the person who's listening, and then the person who's listening has to report to the larger group what was shared, and then vice versa. Sometimes those can help focus the team members and also make sure that everybody's feeling involved and included, because once again, for some kids, those large group team discussions might actually be a barrier to their thinking process, so that you might just need to experiment a little with your approaches. I'd also like to recommend that if you've never coached before, connecting with a team in your area that is experienced, like the Man Master Builders have done for us today. First Lego League teams, as a rule, tend to love to share what they've learned, and they're very, very willing to mentor and help out. And if you don't have a local First Lego League team in your area, but you do have a First Tech Challenge or First Robotics Competition team that's active in your area, a lot of those kids have also gone through First Lego League, and they're super duper willing and interested in contributing. You will often find First Tech Challenge and First Robotics Competition teams may have created websites for themselves, or have other kinds of means if they're doing quite a bit of fundraising in the area. But I would also recommend that you see through the tools that we have at First, how you can make connections to teams. And also remember that a team might not necessarily have to be right in your physical area. Physical barriers can be broken through the magic of the internet. If you could suggest one thing to a rookie team, what would it be?
You know, I think emphasizing the teamwork and having fun and making it a positive experience. You know, this is about really inspiring the kids and tapping into their creativity and making it a positive experience, so that they will, you know, pursue a lifelong interest in STEM. So at the end of the day, never forget that emphasizing teamwork and having fun.
Another thing that I would suggest, when you're doing a competition, never yell at a teammate.
Yeah, it's kind of how they do
Yes,
it.
that's a good one too.
Judges are everywhere, so don't like think a judge is not there, because judges will watch you and then you won't recognize them. They try and blind it and see what your team's up to.
That's a good point, guys. Yeah, good point.
One thing I'd like to also share is that kind of the drum we beat here at headquarters is that you're really competing against your personal best, both in your presentations and your robot game performance. And when you come to this week's meeting, you want to improve on something that you did in your last week's meeting. So when you get to an event, you might see a very huge range of robot game scores on the board. You might see teams who have really developed their idea right down to like working prototypes. And but what's really important to us is that you're not comparing yourself to others. You're proud of the accomplishments that you've made in the season, that you're building on what you've learned, that you've learned something new that you didn't know before, and that you also remember everybody has to start somewhere. So you're in the race, so to speak. Another point I want to make that Coach Matt spoke about earlier is to really embrace and focus on what your team members do well. And sometimes what they enjoy, it, it, it might not always be the person who enjoys building attachments or presenting a skit. They might not always be the loudest person or the strongest presenter or the best programmer, but if they're having fun with it and enjoying it, our mission is really to inspire kids. So you want them to stretch their wings, and it's totally okay if they make mistakes. Nobody's perfect. We did also have a question about how you determined your criteria for brainstorming ideas. Coach Matt, can you take that one?
Usually that was the coach. You know, I think as a coach, that's part of our guidance there. That we decided that, you know, we'd be the ones that would come up with the criteria. And yeah, it honestly just off the top of my head, you know, with the project, I just thought, is it interesting? Is it innovative? And is it relevant? You know, those three things just seem to jump out off the top of my head. That would be good. But I think at the end of the day, that's where the coaches can help guide on the criteria.
I also recommend, like, when you're coming down to your decisions about how you want to pursue your design, pursue your project, and determine your team identity and that sort of thing. Our award rubrics are posted on firstlegoleague.org. You can download those and take a look at them so you have an idea of what judges at events will be looking for. You shouldn't make every decision based on that rubric, but that'll help prepare you for your judging sessions. So it might help in some of your decision making as well. How core values judging is handled, and that does kind of vary from region to region, George. So I recommend that you reach out to the folks who organize your event in your region. If you're in the U.S. and Canada, you can go to www.usfirst.org and look in your regional contacts. But hopefully, you're already starting to hear through team email blasts from those people, and they'll let you know if there's anything special you need to prepare for core values judging. So it does vary from region to region. I want to thank everybody who's joined us on the line today, and I want to especially thank the Mann Master Builders for taking the time to share their experiences and how it related to the core values. Before we go, I just want to take a quick moment to thank our first Legally Global sponsors, 3M, NI, Rockwell Automation, and naturally Lego. So thanks again, Matt and the team, for the great discussion and insight. And as one parting note, I just want to remind you all, if you have your coach's handbook handy, page 31 has a great rundown of things to encourage within your team. And I just want to take you through it really quickly before we go, and then I'll sign off. Embrace discovery in all three aspects of First Lego League, core values, project, and robot game in a balanced way. Develop a clear team identity and find ways to engage others in your team's enthusiasm and fun. Find ways to apply the First Lego League core values and skills in daily life. Define clear goals and develop processes to help your team problem solve and make clear decisions as a team. Use team talents and time wisely. Take responsibility and operate as a team with minimal coach guidance. Balance and appreciate contributions from all team members. Always act and speak with integrity so that others feel respected and valued, and actively cooperate with other teams and embrace the spirit of friendly competition. So thanks again to everybody who came on the line today. Thanks again to the Mann Master Builders for your great presentation. We really appreciate your insights, and have a great season, everybody.